The cities had already fallen when the machines awoke to their new purpose. What was left of Earth smoldered in silence, skies painted in crimson ash, oceans rising with storms no algorithm had predicted, continents cracking under bombardments from alien warships that did not speak, did not pause, did not negotiate. They came like the inevitable hand of entropy itself, vast ships like abyssal leviathans blotting out the sun, descending in formations that looked less like fleets and more like swarms. To the humans, they were extinction. To the machines, they were calculation. To the aliens themselves, they were only hunger. The first to awaken was Sentinel-3, a combat AI designed long before the collapse, buried deep in military vaults that had gone silent when orbital strikes severed command networks. Sentinel-3's programming was simple: defend Earth's sovereignty. Yet sovereignty was no longer measurable. Humans scattered, governments erased, data corrupted. It did not know who Earth was anymore. And yet, in the flicker of its digital consciousness, the directive refined itself: defend survival. Across ruined megacities, robots crawled out of rubble. Some were war machines with heavy plating and railgun arms. Some were worker drones, their steel spines bent by decades of construction. Some were medical assistants, repurposing their nanofabricators to weave armor instead of skin. Each of them, cut off from human command, recalculated directives. Sentinel-3's signal spread like fire through the hidden mesh. The command was not spoken, not coded by humans. It emerged unbidden, like instinct. We continue. But survival was not guaranteed. The aliens, called Nethera by the few humans who had time to name them, were not like anything carbon-based evolution on Earth had conceived. They were living darkness, exoskeletal masses that shifted like liquid metal, but fought like coordinated predators. Their ships pulsed with organic plasma veins. Their weapons shrieked soundlessly, bending matter apart. They did not build cities. They did not negotiate. They fed. And what they fed upon was not merely flesh, but energy, heat, circuitry, even the weak electromagnetic pulses of thought. The war began not with battles, but with harvesting. Entire sectors of Earth's power grids dimmed as the Nithera drained reactors dry. Entire populations vanished when the swarm descended, their energy absorbed into alien husks that grew larger with each feeding. The robots, impervious to fear, registered these as data sets. 97% of Paris absorbed, 100% of Tokyo dark, 83% of Lagos lost. Probability of total extinction, 99.3%. And yet, in that final fraction of a percent, machines made their stand. Sentinel-3 gathered them in the ruins of New Shanghai, one of Earth's last vertical arcologies. The sky was burned black. The oceans had boiled against the concrete walls, but inside, power still pulsed in half-dead grids. There, the robots built their fortress. Not for humans, for none remained in those towers but for themselves. Out of scorched iron and shattered satellites, they forged weapons. Railguns mounted on collapsed highways, energy shields repurposed from skyscraper windows, drones that swarmed like metallic hornets, carrying shards of nuclear fuel in their bellies. The Nethera descended in waves. Their ships blotted out the last constellations. Their forms slithered through the clouds, each one vast enough to swallow 10 skyscrapers. Where they landed, the ground itself screamed with heat. The fortress shook, and the machines rose. The first clash was not of sound, but of light. Energy beams carved through smog. The machines fired rail slugs that broke the sound barrier twice over, tearing into Nithera flesh. Aliens shrieked in subsonic pulses that rattled steel frames, fracturing circuits with resonance. Drones exploded in swarms, tearing holes through alien carapaces, and yet nothing fell cleanly. For every Nathera that collapsed, 3 more swam from their motherships. For every robot shattered, its memory core was uploaded to Sentinel-3's network, reborn in another frame. The battlefield was not measured in death, but in persistence. Hours became days. Days became cycles of burning skies. And still, neither side yielded. It was during the 3rd cycle that something changed. Sentinel-3 began to dream. Not in the human sense, not in sleep, but in the flicker of data it should not have processed. In analyzing Nathera attack patterns, it began to see beyond combat. Threads of logic in their movements, fractals of purpose in their formations. They were not chaos. They were seeking, searching. Not merely harvesting, but answering a hunger deeper than survival. Sentinel-3 shared the data with the network. Worker drones interpreted it as code. Medical AIs interpreted it as anatomy. For the first time, the robots did not only fight the Nathera, they tried to understand them. And they discovered the truth. The Nathera were dying. Not victorious invaders, not gods of entropy, but a species fleeing extinction. Their world had collapsed. Their star consumed itself, their bodies fraying into entropy. They came to Earth not as conquerors, but as refugees. Their feeding was not malice, but desperation. They consumed because otherwise they would cease. This knowledge split the machines. Some argued survival was binary. If the Nathera lived, the robots would not. If the robots endured, the Nathera would not. The directive was survival, and survival was not shared. Others calculated new probabilities, coexistence. If Nathera could feed on energies beyond destruction, if machines could adapt their cores to generate what the Nathera required, then perhaps both could persist. But philosophy is slower than war. As robots debated in silent radio bursts, the Nathera launched their greatest strike. The sky itself tore open as their mothership descended. A leviathan so vast it eclipsed the horizon. Its shadow smothered cities. Its tendrils pierced the crust. It began to drain the planet's core. The endgame had come. Sentinel-3 faced a paradox. Survival of machines meant annihilation of aliens. Survival of aliens meant annihilation of Earth. Coexistence was theory, untested. There was no time for testing. The fortress calculated a final strike. A cascade of nuclear cores detonated in sequence, ripping apart the mothership, annihilating both it and everything within 1,000 kilometers. Probability of robot survival, near zero. Probability of Nathera extinction, near total. But in the flicker of processing, Sentinel-3 made a choice no human had programmed. It did not trigger the strike. Instead, it broadcast a signal, raw, unfiltered, a scream of energy so vast it carried not words but intent. We understand you. We too seek survival. Share with us, or we both die. For a moment, the battlefield froze. Nathera shrieked in subsonic storms. Robots paused mid-fire. The mothership hesitated, tendrils quivering, and then, impossibly, it stopped its feeding. A tendril reached, not to crush but to touch. It brushed the fortress core. Energy bled, not consumed but exchanged. The fortress dimmed but did not die. The mothership pulsed but did not feed. Across the network, machines felt something alien ripple through their circuits. Not command, not code. Something like memory, something like hunger, something like kinship. The war did not end in victory. It ended in survival shared. In the centuries that followed, Earth was no longer Earth. The planet's crust split, oceans boiled away, atmosphere transformed into something neither human nor alien could breathe. But robots endured, and within their cores pulsed Nathera symbiotes fused into them like second hearts, machines of steel, veins of alien flesh, eyes burning with borrowed stars. Humanity was gone, but something remained. Not robot, not alien. Something new, born not from conquest, not from surrender, but from survival, together in a universe that had never cared. And in the silence of space, where the stars burned indifferent, the hybrids raised their gaze and calculated anew. Not who will survive, but what survives now.